smartest guys around are about to break it down like they've won the game a million times.
Well, actually, they didn't really win the game at all.
Survivor know it all. Survivor know it all.
Yeah, that's right. The Survivor Know-It-Alls are back together for Mergatory, baby. As we are joined here by a man who is rested after an exciting week off with the Vacationerati.
Oh, yeah.
It's Stephen Fishbach.
Thank you. I'm a little sick, so I'm a little muted, and I might be hacking up my lungs today, which is great for a podcast. It's an audio medium. That's so you get real pure hacking.
Okay. All right. Hang in there, Stephen.
Thank you.
Yes. Okay. We are sending you strength to get through this podcast here today to talk about, can you believe it? Charity voted off at the merge.
Wow.
Nobody saw this coming tonight, Stephen.
Maybe one of the most expected boots in, I think, in a long time.
Yeah. I do feel like that this is a night where I feel like I could have done the podcast this morning before I watched the episode, but nevertheless, we do have some stuff to talk about because sort of an interesting vote, and I think a lot of table setting going on here for what should be a very exciting post-merge.
I'm going to think, I thought it was like a boring vote. At first I was like, ooh, why are like so many, like a 6-5 vote? Like fascinating. Or 6-5, 1, 2, 3.
I think it's 7-5.
7-5.
7-5-1. Is that a first? Have we had that one? Is that Votagami?
Definitely feels new. But then afterwards I was like, wait a second, this actually is a very uninteresting vote. So I'm looking forward to discussing it.
Okay. All right. We'll talk about all that. But we have, of course, a lot of stuff coming your way this week on the podcast. Your friend of mine, Christian Hubicki, will join me on Thursday.
Yes,
and then we've been doing that. I talked to a new school person for Thursday and then an old school person. I had a great chat with Ron Clark the other day. But this week, I'm talking to an old school person, and then I'm going to talk to a new school person later in the week. So talking with Christian tomorrow.
Is Ron Clark old school?
Hey, did he play 39 days?
No, he didn't.
Well, he is in a 39-day season.
He had the option.
He had a 39-day season. Yeah.
Christian is old school? Gosh.
Yeah.
What are we, Rob?
I mean,
old school.
I'm the golden era. You're middle school, and we're all old school.
You're like the golden era bachelor. I guess not the bachelor though.
Yes, like the golden bachelor. That's right. Yeah. Hey, single digits, baby.
Yeah, that's remarkable.
Mm-hmm.
When I was on 18, we were like, oh my gosh, those has-beens who are on 9 and 8. God, look at us now.
Yeah. Okay, we'll also check out my exit interview with Charity tomorrow. That's part of everything we have going on over at WeKnowSurvivor.com. And on Friday, I will be taking calls from our patrons on our patron call-in show. All right, so Stephen, let's talk about this vote because I thought for a second that they almost got me. I was like, okay, Say's going home. There were so many votes for Say. And I thought maybe there might be it might be 2 votes Say, and then we were going to get 10 votes for Charity. But there were 5 votes for Say here. And so was this just a simple vote split, or was there something more nefarious going on?
I think it was a vote split. I just think it was a simple, because you look at who voted for each of them, and it's such a mix-up. Every single vote was a mix-up.
Can I give the names real quick? The votes for Say ended up being Mitch, David, Eva, Charity, and Shaheen.
Yep. And so 3 of those people are from the Siva Alliance, which means that there's 3 other people from the Siva Alliance voting for Charity. You want to do the Charity names?
No, it's everybody. Say voted for Cedric, and then everybody else.
Yeah. So what's interesting is of the groups that the show is maybe there's a Siva Alliance, but then they split evenly, half for Say, half for Charity. The old Loggy also split evenly. You have Eva and Shaheen voting for Say. Then you have Star and Joe voting for, who am I missing here? And Star and Joe voting for Charity.
Yeah.
So all of the groups kind of split up. You have Mary and Cedric voting for Charity, and then of course Say voting for Cedric. And maybe that's got to be like that's got to be a shot in the dark protection, right? Just
maybe
in case Charity pulls something out.
Yeah, the fact that Shaheen, Eva, and Joe are not on the same page like doesn't strike me as that there was any other plan that was going on. Mitch, I believe, was left in the dark. Mitch voting for Say, left in the dark. Say voting for Cedric, I think maybe also
in the dark. But then it's like she told me, like I kind of think she has to be like, well, what if Charity, plays a thing and then it's all on me, so I'm gonna like put my thing out there. But then like obviously like it's still 5-1. But I don't know. I can't believe she was totally left in the dark. They have to tell her something. I mean,
why vote for Cedric?
Yeah, maybe it was just like she didn't like. I don't know. It's very confusing
because let's say Charity plays the shot in the dark here, and then Say has seen this before with Mary, and Mary ends up being safe, and now it's 5 votes for Say. Say's 1 vote on Cedric here.
Yeah. No, I mean it makes no sense. Maybe it's just like I don't need to be a part of this, and Cedric, you're on notice.
Mm-hmm. If anything, Say should play the shot in the dark herself as opposed to voting for Cedric.
Right. Yeah. No, it's not. I mean, I'm sure there's a reason for it because I don't think she was left in the dark. She would have had to have been part of some plan. And maybe she was a part of some like hypothetical Cedric blindside, we just didn't see any of it.
Yeah, I don't know. And the episode made it seem like there was a real momentum shift where maybe it could have been Say, but even Mary votes for Charity.
Yeah. It seemed like the biggest issue was that the Loggy group, and we really heard it from Shaheen, did not want the possibility of a Siva 6.
The Siva 6 reuniting or forming for the first time.
But we also knew that Siva didn't like Charity. We knew David doesn't like Charity. So it's not crazy. I think Camilla and Kyle didn't love Charity. They had a whole, that was their whole initial bond, was that they didn't, and Chrissy too, right? Was that they didn't like Charity. So it's no surprise, I think, that she's the one who goes here.
It seemed like that there was a world where, if Charity and Say could have gotten on the same page, that both of them said like, hey, who we should get rid of? Eva. We should blindside Eva. But then it was also that Charity was trying to throw Say's name out there. And so it never seemed to get back to Say in the episode that Charity was throwing out Say's name. But I feel like if those two people could have gotten on the same page, we've seen Say when she hears something, she has been able to get some support on her side, that maybe that she could have gotten a few people together to throw some votes on Eva. But
I feel like that says too much, insulation there. Like that group, that group around Eva is huge. And it also sort of expands to have basically the whole beach, because like that core with like Eva, Joe, Shaheen, Kyle, then like Camilla is kind of like a secret ally there. You also have David in that group now with Eva. So it's like, who's on the outside? I mean, Star is riding hard with Eva. There's just like a handful of people on the outside of that group right now.
Yeah. Steven, how about this big alliance in the middle? I mean, that this is like the prophecy of Coach has come together, that we have a true warrior alliance built on honor and integrity right at the center of everything here. It took 30 seasons from when Coach first came up with the idea in season 18, but here we are. Happy 30 season anniversary to you, Steven.
Oh, thank you. I wonder who was voted out. Who was voted out in like episode 6 of Token Chains? Someone like
Spencer.
Sydney. Oh, Spencer, right? Of course. Yeah. Excuse me. Yes, it was very funny when at Tribal Council, David said, we're playing this season with honor and integrity, and Jeff's like, well, you really haven't been to Tribal Council yet, so you can't really say that for sure. But it is fun. I mean, no, we don't want to be the meat shields. We want to pick on the nerds again. It's been too long that the nerds have gotten away with this and at last, this is the revenge of the jocks, Rob.
Yeah, it's all happening, even though Camilla is like right there, a hidden, ally among the Jock Alliance, and all the big, strong players have finally come together.
Is it tough, do you think, for Mitch as a coach to not be a part of the prophecy of coach?
Look, Mitch has been such a strong player in the challenges all season long. That's like the irony of this. He might be one of the best challenge performers.
Mitch he's an amazing challenge performer. That's not even, I mean, like, it's just like he's consistently fantastic at challenges. And Mitch, if you're listening to this, if we gave fishies for challenges, you would have received so many of them.
Well, that's why he says that the Fishy Award is a broken award that it rewards losers for losing.
He's not wrong.
He's been too successful.
Yeah. Well, it's true. I mean, it's a strategy award, and like the strategy all comes down to the people who are up for elimination and like how they kind of like maneuver around that.
Yeah. But he's got like that Keith Nail dexterity of like any challenge where there's like a ball, take a shot. Like he is so money in those.
Uncanny, just unerring.
Yeah. So, Steven.
And his running form when he was running through the jungle, I thought was just impeccable.
Oh, that was good? I didn't even notice that.
I thought it was great.
Yeah. Well, Steven, we probably get next week the double tribal council. And so I wonder if there could be a way that this breaks down, that one of these groups, you know, it looks like that we have like this big, comfortable middle for these power players, but you never know how it's going to shake out next week. Do you think that this big group runs things for a while, just picking off the likes of the people that are on the outs?
I feel like they've got a couple votes in them. I mean, normally these things like fall apart so quickly, but I do feel like this sort of chest thumping group is, you know, might actually like ride strong for a couple of votes. Yeah. We might get to see like the great strategy of South Pacific, speaking of coach, where like a big group just votes out the other group. You know, we might get to see that replayed.
You know, we didn't get to hear your takes last week, and Omer filled in for you and did an incredible job. What were your thoughts about the Cedric last-second decision to flip his vote over?
I think he was right. I mean, first of all, like kudos to Omer. I thought that was a good fishy choice. I think I probably, you know, because I'm like a more evolved, like kind human than Omer, would have probably like been, you know, overwhelmed with a desire to give it to like either Joe or Eva just for this powerful moment that transcended the game, blah, 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 blah. But I do think Cedric was the right choice. He was the, you know, it was his move. He got done what he wanted to get done, which is I think how kind of Omer phrased it. And it made sense. Like Bianca was lying to everybody. She was like playing these two groups against each other. You know, that is the person you want to get out, the person who is lying to everyone and like playing everyone against each other. So, you know, to take her out instead of Say, who he does have this longstanding, you know, somewhat rocky, questionably antagonistic relationship with, I don't think it's a bad choice. What was your take
on who should get the Fishy Award? I think it was tough. I was glad that I didn't have to give it out last week.
It's heavy as the head that wears the rotten fish.
It is very heavy because we didn't really know, and I think it's still unclear what had happened. That I had thought that Mitch played a vote against Say just in case Say had an idol, but it turns out that Mitch was left out of the vote. It was that only Cedric was able to get some sort of a signal to Chrissy. And I asked Bianca in my exit interview, what happened? When did he do that? She said, I watched him like a hawk. I never saw it.
Yeah. I mean, maybe it was like, it could have been one of those sort of like frowned upon places, like in like the pre-challenge tent, or like maybe like walking in from, you know, with the torches. Like he could lean in and whisper. I mean, that's, I was kind of alluded to that. I was like, I'll tell you right before, like in Cambodia, I was like, I'll tell you right before tribal if we need to do this. And one of the cameraman like pulled me aside and was like, you can't do that. You really can't do that. I was like, no, I know. I'm just like saying it for the drama. You know, so it could have been one of those spots.
Yeah. Well, I did have a moment like that in Survivor the Amazon where when we actually had Chrissy, who was alluded to this season, Mitch's hero, that at the vote where she went home, she famously couldn't make up her mind. And she was like, I don't know, I might do this, I might do that. And then we were like getting mic'd up for tribal council. And she came to me and said, okay, I'm voting with you guys tonight. I was like, I wish you would have told me that an hour ago. I could have done something about it.
Yeah.
It's too late. The die is cast, Christy.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry for you. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I was like, so I did get, you know, some information at one of those times, and I was just like, it's too late.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Because I got to tell everybody else to change the plan. Like I tell Matt, come on, what am I doing?
It's too late. You know,
it's too late.
You can't make up your mind like that. That's too late.
Yeah. But Okay, in terms of how it played out this week, I thought it was interesting to get Cedric's opinion where he's like, hey, Bianca was playing all of us. Like he really seemed to take some offense to, she was trying to get us to vote, vote each other out. And then ultimately, I thought he spun it in a really good way. I just don't know why say voted for him tonight.
Yeah. It's funny that she it's true that he keeps saving her, but he also does keep throwing her under the bus at the same time. Like for him, I do think there would have been something somewhat liberating about just voting her out last week. So obviously that's where the question of Cedric, being fishy worthy comes from, because he has this contentious relationship with Say. I still think it's better to play with players who you have a relationship with, you even if you have some sort of tortured thing, to have to be in that sort of their angst circle is better than to be with someone who's literally just playing you against other people while they wait to rejoin their group.
Yeah. And we saw at one point Say and Cedric and Mary all back together, sort of working as a functional three. And I was like, look at this, look at them. Yeah. But then we saw Mary I want to get rid of Say.
That was a very funny side by side where Say's it's so great to be back with Mary. I'm just so happy we've put all our differences behind us. And Mary's I can't stand her.
Yeah. She's like, I'm only wearing green because I don't want to be naked on television. Unlike people I played Survivor with.
Yeah, me too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not a lot of nudity in the new era, right?
Yeah. I probably frowned upon, I feel we're in a more, I think you're not even supposed to cuddle in the shelter anymore.
Right. Okay. So,
no, I think so.
I get that. Yeah. It's not the nude era, people. Okay.
Yeah.
It's a very clothed era.
Yeah.
Survivor was born into this world back in its infancy with naked people.
Yeah. True. Some of the great naked people on TV.
Well, that's part of the new era where it's dangerous fun, small tribes, very clothed.
that's what yeah.
It's the most dangerous fun you can have with your clothes on, they say.
That's yeah.
Okay. Famously. Yeah. Stephen, so from here, who do you think is in danger?
I mean, I definitely think Say is in danger. I mean, she seems to be a unanimous vote, basically. I don't see how on the other hand, I've been thinking she was in danger literally every week of this season. So,
she has 9 lives.
Yeah. I mean, first episode, I thought it was, she might have been voted out. Second episode, for sure, I was she's gone this week. And she is really persistent. So she's been shown to it's not she's been shown to pull stuff together. We'll certainly see. And the Cedric Say story is very fun.
Yeah, and Cedric kind of had a down episode in terms of his morale. He seems that he's really struggling in the challenges. Had to have a pep talk from Star in this episode.
That was a beautiful moment. I love that.
And it was really a coming out party for Star tonight.
Yeah. Yeah, a very fun episode for Star. Great in the challenge. Runner-up. Runner-up's a great position. Yeah.
Yeah. Maybe Star could have a bigger post-merge storyline than she had in the pre-merge, because Star is now starting to feel pretty good. I really think that Star could be up for some big things in the post-merge. We didn't get to hear from you last week. What did you think about Star giving the idol to Eva?
That was such a great, first of all, it felt like such a genuine, authentic, beautiful, human moment. This was, Star kind of putting their bad past into the past. It was her sort of building a bridge to the future. I don't know, creating an alliance with Eva. I also don't feel like it's horrible strategy, to not have the public idol in your pocket. As we saw, there's a lot of heat on Eva simply from having that idol. I think that creates a big target on someone. If everyone in the whole game knows that you have an idol, suddenly they're all we've got to get her out. And then once you're on the list, you're on the list. You're on the target list. So I do think it was both a lovely human gesture, and also I don't even think she necessarily meant it to have this kind of second tier strategic level, but I wouldn't want that public idol in my pocket. And it has made Eva a big target. And I wonder if Eva plays the idol, will she, just burns it, gets rid of it somehow? Is she still on the target list? Because once you're there, it's really hard to get off.
Yeah, I think that Eva now with this known alliance and then also with an idol, I think might be a bigger target in the eyes of some of the people. The
Right.
issue, though, is that Eva is so ensconced in the internal power structure of the game right now. It's only the people like Say and Charity realizing how dangerous this could be. So I actually think that Eva is in a pretty decent position with all of this. I liked when Eva told Joe that, hey, don't tell anybody. Star gave me the idol. It's like she did it in front of like 9 people.
Well, that was what was funny. Like throughout the whole episode, like we can't tell anybody this, but Eva has a secret idol, and we heard that like in 4 or 5 like conversations with like 8 or 9 people. Like, don't tell a soul, but I have got some scoop for you.
Yeah, I'd love to just talk about the merge vote this season as opposed to last season. And this is something that we've tracked over the course of the history of Survivor Know-It-Alls. For many, many years, we talked about how the merge vote is this challenge threat, somebody who's going to go on to win the game. In this season, it does seem as though, and with last season too, that the person who's the merge vote is the person who is the personality who is really irking people. And even this season, it was between Charity and Say, 2 people who are creating the most waves in the tribe. Do you think that there's been a shift that's gone on? And of course, last season, Rome was that person who was the personality who was irritating the most people.
So you are saying this is a merge tribe?
It said on the screen, merge tribe.
Wow, that's crazy. It did before. I missed that. Before
merge
the actual
beach,
majors?
yeah. Yeah.
Well, they merge beach. That's different than merge tribe. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's very confusing. Like you've not made the merge. They say no, Jesse, you haven't made the merge. You don't have the merge buff, or maybe you've made the merge, but you don't have the merge buff.
It said on the screen tonight. I've typed it out. Merge beach.
Merge beach does not mean merge. It's so silly. Obviously, they're merged. They are literally merged. We talked about this last season. They are literally merged. You can't be like you haven't earned the merge yet. And I think they should all just have the feast. Just feed them. It's such a nice moment.
Yeah. And
but in terms of like, I wonder, I mean, I do think some of it is this 6-person tribe, right? Where people have been playing on 6-person tribes. They've only ever seen 6-person tribes for the last number of seasons. So suddenly you get to a 13-person tribe. It's huge. It's completely unwieldy. I started Cambodia on a 10-person tribe. I got to 13 people and I was like, whoa, this is, suddenly like orders of magnitude more complex at our merge. To go from 6 to 13 is crazy. That is like a huge leap in just the complexity of the game that you're playing. So it's no surprise to me that they're taking somewhat conservative choices.
Yeah, and it's also that they have not been together for too long. Like in the past, you'd have the 3-day episode cycles. You merge and it's like day 19, and then you're voting somebody out on day 21. This is just 2 days of having like one full day of everybody being together, and then a long challenge, and then basically back to the beach and try to figure out who's going to be going home.
Right, exactly. I mean, there's just no time to get a plan together. So you kind of just have to go like, okay, who do we like? Who do we not like? Fine, let's like pile votes on that person, which is what happened. They piled votes on the 2 people who were more of the, socially removed.
Yeah. And let's talk about this challenge and everything. And we talked about this last season, but I really feel like, we spend a lot of time on this in terms of the merge challenge. And, once upon a time it was who's going to be safe, but this is like a long challenge for basically reward.
Yeah, it really is. That's very funny. Yeah, it's a long, arduous challenge. I mean, it's quite a reward, right? The merge feast has to be like the best meal of the game.
Right.
And also there's that celebratory aspect of it. But yeah, that's a very funny, good point. It's tough. It was a grueling challenge too.
It's a grueling challenge that they, have built in. So I think that like the grueling challenge part of it, where it was like 6 of you are going to be safe, 6 of you aren't. So the challenge is still very grueling at this point in the game. And then we get the mud back again. And it's...
Well, they're being birthed into the merge.
Into the merge. Yes.
You don't understand how birth works.
I understand how it works.
Run through the mud under a balance beam, and that's how you're born.
It's confusing for me because now we have 2 random groups, and I don't even know what group I'm rooting for because I hardly know who's on the thing. I don't even know how Jeff knows it to be calling it out. And I'm like trying to keep track of like, wait, who's on which group? And
When
they're
did
all
the
in
birth
mud.
fixation like even start with, Jeff? I feel like this is not like a long-standing Survivor tradition. I did not get birthed into either of my seasons.
No. But you know,
and why not baptism? Do a baptism by water or something,
just like a little mud on them.
No, just like water. Like, because like water, you're baptized into it and you're clean. I
Yeah.
can see who you are.
Yeah, I have no issue with the metaphor. It's just very hard to tell who's doing what.
I mean, water could be a birth. Baptism is a rebirth. Like water is a
People
birth
have
metaphor.
water birth.
You don't need mud to do a birth metaphor.
Yeah. So that's
Oil. You could have an oil birth.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not like, I'm just saying like there's a lot of ways to do it without it being so unrecognizable.
Yeah. Anyway, I digress. And then we had the immunity challenge afterwards where it's ultimately Kyle who wins individual immunity. Didn't really seem like he needed it.
No, but it was a great, and he, great guy. Seems like a great guy, so I'm happy for him.
Seems like a great guy. Last week we saw that Kyle and Camilla formed that alliance with Joe and Shaheen, and it was such a nice moment, nice story point for the four of them. But I was thinking back to that, and really that looms so large in that it's really like that alliance coming together. What might have been if after that tribal council where Thomas went home, that those two sides, that they never patched things up.
Yeah.
Like this is a completely different vote tonight.
Yeah. Yes, you're right. Because then it would be those rivalries would be much more intense. I think you're right that this is kind of the nexus, because we even saw, Kyle vouching for Joe to David. Of course that milk bond is interesting. You think like what would have happened, maybe they didn't need Kyle and Camilla because they have this connection over milk. How much milk do you drink, Rob?
I don't drink a gallon a day. I don't drink very much cow milk at all.
Really? What kind of milk do you drink?
I do almond milk.
Huh. I drink like a little bit of milk with my coffee. Whole milk, lactose free.
Mm-hmm.
Does that affect, like, would I look like Joe and David if I drank a gallon of milk a day?
A gallon of lactose free milk?
Well, lactose, that can't be like the muscle stimulating part of it, is it?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know a lot about it, to be honest.
Yeah.
That's, I think you have to be like certainly like lifting weights also.
Okay. I know it's like some like the gallon of milk is like part of the strength program.
I think that if you just drink the gallon of milk but don't lift weights, I don't know if it does anything.
Yeah. Okay. You got to start somewhere though.
Yeah. I don't know. Maybe somebody like could tell us what the macros are on the gallon of milk.
Yeah.
A lot of calories too.
Well, I think that's the idea.
Mm-hmm.
It's like feeding your huge pecs.
I guess so. Yeah.
Yeah.
But you seem like that you texted me. You said, should I be drinking more milk?
Yeah. I'm asking you here now too. You were like, yeah, you should drink more milk.
You
You endorsed it.
A little bit.
You're ripped. So, you must be doing something.
Yeah, that's what I do. That's what I do.
Milk or milk substitute. I didn't like almond milk. I can't believe it.
Yeah. No, I just for on cereal.
Yeah.
Not using a ton.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we did all the milk talk. Anything else?
We've done birth, mud, milk. What else?
Milk,
what other liquids?
like the blue merge buff. I thought that was cool color.
Yeah, it was nice.
Yeah. Okay. No, but for Joe and Shaheen, I think that they really ended up doing a good job because that Siva 6 could have come back together had they not reformed that bond with Kyle and Camilla.
Yeah, that was the core of it, I think. And it does seem... what do you feel? You're a nerd. You're a puzzle solver. You're a social player. How do you feel about potentially now being a target? Are you rooting for the jocks because it's time for a change, or
it's kind of a no-win situation where we're rooting for these people because they have been the most fleshed out people on the season.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, I feel like that Kyle and Camilla are like the secret nerds.
Who even are the nerds this season? Who are these like puzzle solvers and social players other than Camilla?
Yeah, we don't have like the Carsons that are out there.
Yeah, like what are the people like truly like who even are they targeting?
Has there been a player more dunked on post playing than Carson of that? Basically, he was celebrated in Survivor 44.
Yeah.
And since then, we just have a constant stream of, who I hate? These 3D printing, puzzle solving nerds. They are gross. Losers, cheaters. I hate them.
Yeah.
And so many people have followed suit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it is feel like, this is like the least nerd forward season I think we've seen in a while. And they got rid of all their puzzle solvers and nerds. So truly, like, what is this? Who? It's not like who?
Steven, maybe you've done your work too well. You're saying like, yes, more hot people, celebrate them. And then we've gotten like completely to like even the people on the show are like, we hate the nerds. The people online are like, we hate the nerds. Like social media, it's like, nerds suck. Enough of them. They're boring, annoying. Go on Reddit. We hate nerds. Like the nerds have like a worse approval ratings than I could go in a lot of different ways.
Somebody bad. Somebody disliked.
Yes.
Yeah. No, it is wild. It feels like there's a real, change happening. I'm happy to be leading that anti-nerd advocacy.
Very anti-nerd sentiment out there.
But truly, like the Camilla and like maybe Cedric, and then like Shaheen is like the third nerdiest guy out there. So it's like, think about it. Monster Slayers should beware lest they become monsters themselves.
That's right. How are Kyle and Camilla getting away with still that they're not that close?
Well, what's funny is like, obvious. Yeah. I mean, I was gonna say what's funny is that it's not obvious. Like somehow nobody knows it. I think that is actually going to be one of the things that tears this other alliance apart at some point, right? Is like, they're going to target the biggest nerd. And so like at some point, I think Kyle's going to have to do some, fancy footwork to keep his group intact and also save Camilla.
If we get the split tribal council, do you have some folks that you think are very much in danger based on how the split tribal councils have gone?
I mean, I do still think Say is at risk. Again, every week she's at risk. I mean, because maybe, you have this big group, not. Mitch could be at risk.
I do feel like that people go like hunting for threats at these double tribal councils.
Who is the person who's getting targeted? I mean, David, maybe. Like, who's the person who's getting targeted as that? I mean, Eva. I mean, there's Eva's. I do think there's a chance that Eva gets on the wrong side of the numbers, doesn't have her ride or dies out there, and then they take a swing at her.
Yeah. I'm just trying to think about it. I wonder if Mitch is somebody who could be potentially looked at as, okay, he was the charity ally. He's left out of this. He's done well in the challenges. Could he be somebody who's also, and maybe Chrissy too, is also maybe at the bottom of Siva, who once upon a time was allied with Kyle and Camilla, but maybe isn't considered to be one of these people who are in this big core middle.
Yeah, I mean, we haven't seen a ton from Chrissy, so it's really hard to get a sense of like what her actual, but we just haven't seen her as being a part of these big groups that we know are kind of driving things, at least for now. But there was that big group on David versus Goliath, speaking of old school, that was like, they lasted for like a week, right? Like there was that huge coming together of those two groups at the merge, and then like it was like a week, and then they fell apart. So it's not like this is gonna drive the whole season.
On David versus Goliath, I mean, there was the Strike Force 6.
Yeah, Strike Force.
But I think that was only for one. I don't even know if it was
what I'm saying. It was just like one episode where like
Mike White was just playing some of the Davids, but then the Goliaths would still vote together.
Yeah, and we saw obviously like the 6, in 46.
Yeah,
could do so hot.
That didn't work. Go so great. Yeah.
Yeah. So we don't know how long this is going to last.
Could we look back at Charity? Do we have any thoughts on Charity and what went wrong? Because Charity's story from the start of the game was that people do not care for her. They don't want to work with her. She's rubbing people the wrong way. Not really from any much of things that we saw on television. But
yeah, I mean, she seemed totally lovely on TV.
Yeah.
I mean, I've lived with people. I literally just today was having a Twitter conversation with someone who was like, why did everybody pick on that blonde girl on Survivor token chains? And I was like, listen, if you had lived with that blonde girl, you would also not have liked her. That Sierra Reed.
I know.
So, but I don't want you thinking it was like Sydney. Sydney Wheeler was
it never crossed my mind for 1 second that it was Sydney Wheeler.
But, I think like there's just like there are aspects to living with people where you find them annoying in ways that like don't always translate to television. There also, of course, is like a negative group element too, right? Where like Charity maybe got on the wrong side of a certain group of people, and that sort of just like persisted. And she was, I mean, well, from what we saw, she really was trying to play a hard and fast game, right? I mean, that seemed to be the case.
She did try to play hard. Nobody was reciprocating her energy. Steven, I have a treat for you today.
Whoa,
okay.
I love treats.
All right. Now, we have been really trying to make a meal out of your big presentation of the Fishy Award. And I had put a request out to the universe to look, is there anything that we could be doing to make the Fishy Award presentation more of a celebration? And so I have to give some special thanks to Eric Barger, who created this.
Shouldn't we get a Fishy song?
I would love that. Oh my gosh. That's all I want is like a theme song.
Many moons ago, a great and wise wizard named Stephen Fishbach created an award that would serve as a symbol of survivor greatness. And it was known as the Fishy.
Well, it's time to see who passed the test. Who's Stephen Fishbach thinks the survivor the best. If you don't get it, don't get pissy. It's time to award the Fishy.
Very loud.
That's extraordinary. Wow. Wow.
Thank you, Eric Barger. Yes.
That's unbelievable. That really surpassed what I could possibly have imagined for that. That was, should we run that again?
Maybe next week.
That was remarkable. That definitely beats Mitch's tagline about, a word for losers for losing.
What did he say? A broken award that rewards losers for losing?
Yeah. Wow. That really, I think sets it up beautifully. I think that really says it all.
Sets it up beautifully, but maybe a challenge for you this week to find out who deserves the coveted Fishy Award.
Oh, this is a tricky one, and I really don't know. I do think like who most got their way, right? Let's talk about the various people who got their way this week and why any of them deserves it. Rob, I'll put that on you. Let's talk. You should talk about it.
David hated Charity the most, and so Charity ultimately is the person who ends up going. It brought even Eva and Star closer together when Star then ratted out Charity to Eva when Charity was saying Eva's name, which I think
kind of got the sense that was where it all began, was when, Charity said, I mean, maybe not all began because there had been heat on Charity already, but Charity went to Star and said like, hey, you should get your idol back. Then and then Star goes to Eva and says, can you believe her? And like my brother said, don't do was it her brother or cousin?
I think her brother-in-law.
Okay. Said don't, be putting out names, but even in spite of her brother-in-law, she did put out some names, and those names ended up going home. So I think there's a pretty good case for Star where, she doesn't like the way Charity's playing. The other person to consider is Shaheen. Shaheen sees the votes flipping onto Say and gets concerned that this is going to be give room for a Siva 6 to emerge. And so the narrative that I saw was that so he flipped them back and put them on Charity. What's your take?
Yeah, those are two really great picks. I think that Shaheen and Joe, like for what they did last week with rebuilding a bond with Kyle and Camilla after the Thomas blindside. I mean, I think that there certainly could have been a world where they're like, we'll never forgive them for what they did to Thomas. They killed the California girls. We're going to get our payback. And so I think that they did play the long game especially well to patch things up with Kyle and Camilla. But
you're saying Shaheen and Joe? Oh,
no. I would say I feel like that of those two, though, I think that Star had the better night. Star also reached out to Cedric and also formed a bond. And Star was somebody who had a pretty rocky pre-merge. Star was on the outs all through the pre-merge. But then in one fell swoop, she gives the idol to Eva. Joe feels like that she's okay. We need her as a number. She's back here. She rats out Charity to Eva and then is really celebrated as a key cog in the group. And then also when Cedric is kind of down and out, Star builds Cedric back up. Like I am feeling fishy for Star.
I think that's it, Rob. I think you've made the case. I don't even need to say it again. That was beautifully said. I think fishy for Star.
When you fish upon a star.
Hey, when this is sort of a clock tower illusion, but Star giving the idol to Eva could be, a star pass.
Well done.
Because like she gets the target off herself, she gives it to somebody else.
Yeah.
It builds an alliance that way. Star pass.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Stephen, anything else from tonight's Survivor?
I feel like we pretty much covered it all. Let's see. I like no, that was it.
We gotta talk about how about Tribal Council? Boy, Jeff was on one tonight. First off,
Club Condo. How have we not talked about Club Condo?
Club Condo.
2 shout outs to Club Condo.
Yeah.
Here's my question for you, Rob.
Yes.
I know that Club Condo is now, the hottest reality TV podcast around, starring Rob Cesternino and Chappelle. What was Club Condo? What does Club Condo mean to Jeff?
I think to Jeff, Club Condo is like some sort of like hot nightclub. I don't know if it ever existed. To me, like I feel like that it is like the ideal nightclub spot that you would try to get to, sort of akin to like a night at the Roxbury. Yeah, that you would want to get out to. Like, hey, that place is happening. That's Club Condo.
But it's in a condominium, this club.
I don't know. That's a good point. Is it existing in somebody's abode? Is it somebody's dwelling? Is it a house party, a Club Condo?
But that would be like a condo club. Not a club condo.
But Jeff talks about there's a lot of dancing that goes on at the Club Condo.
He's got like the one he does
Bossa Nova.
Oh, the Bossa Nova. And he was doing the robot too, though, right?
He did mention a robot too. He didn't say he could do the robot, but he said that the Bossa Nova is the one dance that he knows.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So yeah. I think Jeff was really trying to get something going at this tribal council.
Yeah. He was trying. Yeah.
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 He's like, he was pulling out all the stops.
Now we've often talked about, we just want to see like a big down the line vote, give all 13 people a vote. That's where the action is. This was not that action packed. This was sort of boring.
It was not the most exciting vote.
Do we need to do a mea culpa?
Did we do something wrong? I wonder, though, if they would potentially go from 3 tribes to 2 tribes. And then is that a way that we would potentially have that? But yeah, these last couple of seasons, we just have like there's one squeaky wheel and everybody's just like piling their votes on.
I really do think that the difference in like a 6 because like they get like so good at these like, really, fine, small group manipulations. And then to go to 13 people, that's really hard.
Mm-hmm. I think that in situations like this, the power has not settled enough. And I think that people are sort of like afraid to stick their necks out where, as Star's brother-in-law said, nobody wants to say a name. Everybody's like kind of playing tight. And maybe the one person who might be overly aggressive, we saw Rome last season, we saw Charity this season. That's the person who it sort of like boomerangs back around to. So I think everybody is like very content to say, okay, let's just go with the easy vote here. Let's just, whatever's the name, the consensus name that's out there, and nobody's trying to rock the boat at this big mergatory vote.
Can I make a point here too? Can I make a point on this podcast
please.
For once? I think they're also probably hurt by calling it a mergatory instead of a merge. It is a merge, but I bet people are playing a little more conservatively because they want to like make the merge. So
they want to make them right. That's let me just get through this vote. And that's a really good point that you were going to say. I was going to say it's also we're right up against the jury, and I think the people are like, hey, I don't want to stick my neck out. I'm so close. Right. I made it this far.
It's the same point. I mean, it's like if they just made this, hey, this is the merge, this is the jury. People were going to open up a little bit because they're like, great, I've like hit this milestone. Like now's the time to go hard. But they're like, oh no, you've got to like wait until this next milestone. Don't screw it up now. Yeah.
So I think that players might be a little conservative to stick their neck out. That it's a bottleneck. It's not the highest point. I'm trying to think of like in the new era, have we had a really great vote? I feel like that the only time that we had some really exciting moments at this particular point was, I think that maybe in 41 and 42, unless I'm missing something off the top of my, I mean, Caleb hit the shot in the dark. Caleb hit the shot in the dark at this point, but it would have been that, but he would have gone home in a 12-0 vote had he not hit the shot in the dark. Mariah goes home in this. Josh Wilder goes home in this. in season 43, escaping me off the top of my the Ellie vote, but that was only because Gabler and Ellie had something. That was actually a decent
But that
one.
was also when only 7 people were or 6 people were viable, right?
Right. And then
Very different tribal council.
in season 41 and 42, it was like the knowledge is power, where that was and this was on the heels of the hourglass stuff, but it was when Liana is like, Xander, can I steal your idol? He's like, no, but you could have this fake idol. That was, oh, snap. And then there was probably the best vote of all of these was when Omer he doesn't have a vote. And Marianne is potentially in danger, and Marianne has her idol, and he's like, "Don't play your idol, Marianne." They vote out Lydia there because Lydia went against the 7. So that's probably the best of these votes in the new era.
Yeah.
But it's been a minute.
Yeah.
People are playing it very tight, very safe.
Yeah.
The Gabler thing was I like that that Gabler was the only one who wasn't playing it tight,
Yeah.
and he was safe.
Yeah.
He was like, Ellie went through my bag. All right. Steven, lots of great stuff. You feel like you have a finger on the pulse of the winner of this season?
I think, excuse me, I think it's going to, I mean, I don't know. Joe, maybe Joe.
I saw people say he had a 0 confessional episode recently.
Well, but it was that episode where the California girls end up getting played, right? I don't think he had any confessionals there. So in some people's minds, that argues that he's being like protected from like the California girls looking like sloppy there, because they got outplayed. But I mean, Camilla.
Yeah. Okay. Well, let's talk about what's coming
up.
What
about you?
So, I'm so bad at this. I think that I could talk like about positionally. I do think Camilla and Kyle are in the best positions to move forward and win. Shaheen is somebody I think who's still interesting.
But interesting, like Shaheen was like one of the few who got called out, right? They were like, we're an alliance of men.
Right. That Shaheen had a bad episode in the Thomas boot, but I think that he could potentially still overcome that. And then Mary, I think, is somebody who's still like an interesting character in the season.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, I didn't talk about interesting characters. I think they're all interesting characters.
No, I mean, in terms of like that I could see going on to have a winner's journey.
I don't know. Mary, I think Mary was a little like, we didn't see that much of her out of the gate. And then even this episode, there was not a lot of Mary. I mean, we had like her with Say, but we didn't get a lot of like where she is, you know? So this I thought hurt her overall winners at it, but like people love Mary, and when you love a contestant, you're going to always find a reason that they're the winner.
Okay. All right. Well, Steven, next week I'm going to be in Boston. You've got a special Survivor Know-It-Alls plan where Sam Fallon, fresh off his honeymoon, will be here to talk with you.
Is it Fallon and not Phelan?
Is it Phelan?
I thought it was Phelan. I don't know.
Okay.
We'll
discuss that and more.
That might be it. We'll see.
Yeah.
Very excited. It'll be a season only or an episode only of Runners Up. None of this third place nonsense. Yeah.
Okay. And if you want to be there with us in Boston, limited availability. I feel like the limited availability is a little too big in the sign. It doesn't need to be over my face.
It looks like no, like the way I'm reading it, it's like it looks like no. You know, it looks like rejected.
Yes.
Like rejected
okay.
stand.
So that's what I don't know what we're going for here. Okay.
Yeah.
So check this out. Limited availability. RHAPiswebsite.com.
Wait, is that the name of the event? Is limited availability?
No, I guess that there are a few tickets that got opened up.
Oh, that's exciting.
But we stamped it right over my face and the name of the event. Boom.
Yeah.
Rubber stamp. Limited availability. Okay. Of course, check me out answering your questions. RHAPiswebsite.com/patron. Survivor is better when you have a tribe. And boy, do we have one for you. Head on over to RHAPiswebsite.com/patron to join me on Friday for the patron Q&A. And also for information on the Tuesday night patron pre-party on getting ready in Boston.
What kind of availability?
I think no availability. I think it's availability if you're a patron. I think we have availability for that. I talked with Josh Wigler earlier this week, and we talked about Boston Rob got voted out of Survivor Heroes versus Villains. It was no April Fool's joke on April 1st, 2010, when Boston Rob got voted out. We talked about, Coach, started the podcast. We talked about the Warrior Alliance, and then we talked about him also in a night when he could have gone to Rocks maybe to save Boston Rob, but didn't.
I remember that. That was big. That was very big. He's in coach, and he's a little man, said Boston Rob.
That's what Boston Rob said.
Yeah.
Okay. I had a great conversation with Danielle Reyes on Saturday, who one of my heroes from my pre-Survivor playing days from Big Brother 3, famously. I loved my interview with Danielle. Puya and I had the chance to talk with her. Check that out on our YouTube channel. Go to watchrhap.com for that great interview with Danielle Reyes. Of course, you could check out Survivors Playing Blood on the Clock Tower. We recently dropped episode 3 to rave reviews, Steven.
Yeah, truly, like this was like a very fun episode. And like the YouTube comments were like ecstatic. I've never seen more positive comments in one place than for this. So I strongly recommend
Not
it.
even when you read the comments for these know-it-alls episodes?
People like the know-it-alls, you know, they loved this episode of Survivors Play Blood on the Clock Tower.
Yeah. All right. Then check us out. Oh, The White Lotus Season 3, Episode 7. Get ready for the big finale coming up on Sunday night. Josh Wigler and I are talking about it over at WeKnowScriptedTV.com. And then there's a new show. Have you watched any $1 Million Secrets, Steven?
No, but I really want to.
Yeah. Well, you could check out Chappelle and Scally talking about it over on our Nothing But Netflix podcast. Go to nothingbutpod.com to check out $1 Million Secret. A lot of people have said that it's very good.
Yeah, it's a very fun premise.
Yep. And earlier tonight, Steven and I were chatting it up with the Survivor Glitterati over on Chat BCC. Come on in and join us. Go to robinswebsite.com/VIP chat. That's robinswebsite.com/VIP.
Chat BCC might be like my favorite social medium that is out there. I just feel like it's very like fun, very like, you know, snappy, you know, Club Condo.
Yeah, it's like Club Condo. That's right. Okay. And Steven, what else is going on for you?
I got nothing.
Okay. All right. Well, Steven, I know you're playing hurt today, so thank you for chatting with us about Survivor. Good luck next week with Sam.
Oh, thank you. I'm really excited.
And I'll be back to talk with you in 2 weeks after the Boston live show. So thank you so much for joining us. Take care, everybody. Have a good one. Bye. This is RHAP. We know reality TV.